Coming up on Tech News today, Uber shares a distraction. Apple gets a permit for testing autonomous vehicles on California roads. The ShadowBrokers unleash God mode for Microsoft computers to everyone. How Digit shifts from free to paid. And Google's AI is getting good at doodling. All that and more on Tech News today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1747, recorded Friday, April 14th, 2017.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. See what's on the menu this week and get 3 meals free with your first purchase and free shipping by going to blueapron.com/TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we tell you all about technology, and hopefully you listen or watch or both. I'm Megan Maroney.
At the same time, which it would make sense. I'm Jason Howell, by the way. It would make sense. Watching us without hearing us, it's not going to get you anywhere.
No.
Don't do that.
I wonder if people do watch us without, just have the, just the video.
They get enough by seeing us talking and then occasionally a story appear on the screen. It's possible. It's possible. Hey, did you see the trailer for The Last Jedi?
No, I don't.
Or are you going to avoid it?
I like information blackout, no trailers. I spent the day watching the Carrie Fisher tribute.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it'll make you cry.
That sounds fun.
It's really good. She's so wonderful. I miss her.
I think we all miss her. But she's going to be in the next one, I've heard anyways. So at least there's that. Anyways, tech news. Uber is still a privately held company and as such isn't required to open its books to the world, but Uber has a lot going on right now with a constant stream of bad news and discoveries about its operations. Possibly as a distraction from all of that bad news, Uber shared its revenue growth with Bloomberg, showing net revenue of $6.5 billion in 2016, with net losses at $2.8 billion. Uber says it doubled its gross bookings to $20 billion. Losses in the last 3 months of 2016 totaling $991 million in losses.
Yeah, so it's a distraction. It's like, hey, squirrel.
It's like, poof, over here.
But that squirrel is still losing millions of dollars. That is not a profitable squirrel.
Yeah, well, and they're not sharing anything about this year, which is arguably what people are most kind of curious about, because this has really been the last few months, especially, but the last, since the beginning of this year has been when we've started to kind of hear a lot more of this avalanche of bad news coming from Uber's side.
Yeah, so they increased their bookings, they upped their losses. I don't know what that means. I mean, they didn't have to release it. So, no. I mean, other than a distraction from all the bad press, I don't know why they would.
I feel like that's just entirely what it's all about. Rachel Holt, head of North America at Uber, says, "We're fortunate to have a healthy and growing business, giving us the room to make the changes we know are needed on management and accountability, our culture and organization, and our relationship with the drivers." That last part is full of things that they need to improve. So at least they recognize that, I suppose. But that just kind of highlights the challenges that they have right now. And making money is maybe not one of those challenges. I mean, they're doing okay. They certainly dominate in this space, but it's a commodity market. It's like a race to the bottom potentially. I'm certain that Uber just wants to get to self-driving cars fast, as fast as they can, so that they can make even more money.
According to a notice on the California DMV website, Apple has applied for and received approval to test self-driving car technology on public roads. Permit holders are listed in order of when their permit was approved, and Apple is currently number 30 on a list that includes Volkswagen, Mercedes, Tesla, BMW, Faraday Future, and many, many others, including NVIDIA. The California Department of Motor Vehicles told Business Insider that the permit covers 3 vehicles, all 2015 Lexus RX 540Hs, and 6 drivers. According to Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, Apple's self-driving system can either work on existing cars or in an Apple design car. And if you're listening, I vote Apple design car.
Yeah, you think so?
No, I want that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like
No,
that's
it's
what we're going to see.
It's my wish.
I don't know. By the way, 2015 Lexus RX 450h, same vehicle that Google uses to test its self-driving cars. So I wonder why that is. There must be something really special about this. Maybe Sam Abou-El-Samid will send us an email and let us know about that. But I have to imagine, like, Apple is a super secretive company. It's got to be kind of weird for them, just for their culture, to have this thing that everybody is talking about. There really isn't a whole lot of confirmation from Apple saying that they are, in fact, working on self-driving technology or whatever. But there's a lot of secret hints that point to it. Yet they have to go out in public with this thing and test it in the public sphere on roads because they need all of that data. That's got to be a weird position for Apple to be in. They're used to having closed doors that lock up this stuff and keeping this secret until the bitter end, until they're ready. And there's kind of little room for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, unless someone, left an iPhone in the bar, they were going to keep it secret. So yeah, it's and there's not anything that they've done that's required so much regulation. I mean, you have patents, like everyone's always digging through patents, but everybody gets patents for everything that they think of, or they should. Tesla and GM both have more than 20 autonomous testing vehicles, so a lot more than Apple. Waymo has several dozen. So, I mean, Apple still hasn't even acknowledged that this project exists. They made a statement back in December when they first sent out a letter to NHTSA, and they basically said, check that statement. We're working on a lot of things, a lot of AI, and it might be self-driving cars, might not be. Still being secretive.
I think what they do need to do, and you kind of mentioned this briefly, they need to make sure that one of their engineers does not park the car outside of the bar when they go inside, because then someone might take the car and then all their secrets are spoiled. Right.
Definitely not on the bar. Don't leave it. Don't park it on top of the bar. That'd be a horrible idea.
Yeah, that would be a strange bar that lets you do that. So don't do that. The ShadowBrokers, who unleashed a huge cache of stolen NSA spy tools on the world earlier this week, actually, after a failed auction on the dark web, are back again with a new collection of tools. And this time, Microsoft PCs are squarely in the crosshairs, or rather, PCs running Microsoft's Windows software. The leak covers tools for hacking into Windows OS versions, totaling 65% of desktop computers registered online, according to data from NetMarketShare. One tool in particular is called Fuzzbench. Some researchers call it, quote, God mode for Microsoft computers. And when you look at the tool, I mean, it looks super easy, like a plug and play solution, right? You just run the software, really easy to figure out. Probably takes someone like an hour of kind of working through it in order to figure this out. So you could really see, I mean, this is out in the open now, and apparently targets Windows NT 2000, 2003, 2008, all the way up to 2012, XP, Vista, Windows 8. They're saying it's not safe to run an internet-facing Windows box, and Microsoft needs to update things. And even then, it might not still be safe.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell when these things, it's definitely the boy who cried wolf. It's like, oh, the ShadowBrokers again, yawn. But this sounds really bad. Also, the NSA, they were using code words that the NSA knew, like that they knew that these exploits were real, and this was 96 days ago, and Microsoft didn't do anything about it. And the NSA didn't do anything about it. The NSA could have told Microsoft this and warned them, and they didn't. I don't know.
I wonder if that's a situation of, if you play your cards before you absolutely have to, then do you risk revealing something that you might not have had to have revealed eventually?
Yeah,
but that's the danger of this, right? Like, it makes it really difficult to maneuver, and the stakes are really high when you're talking about 65% of desktop computers running Windows that are online. That's insane. Based on the video that I was watching, it's as easy as like plugging in an IP address, and it jumps in there and it figures it out, right? Like, it figures out if it's capable of executing on that particular version, and then it just works the back door, and it's like, all right, you're in. And that's that kind of availability, that kind of access on so many computers, especially when you consider not just individual people that have a Windows PCs, but businesses that rely on some of these legacy OSs. I'm sure there are plenty of businesses that are still running XP. Hopefully not Vista, because Vista is Vista. But you know what I mean. I mean, there's a lot of reason that businesses wouldn't move away necessarily immediately, and now it's very easy to break into those machines.
Yeah, and they say that the timing is really horrible because it's Good Friday. That's, a holiday. And so a lot of the defenders, a lot of people that would be in there plugging these holes are away, maybe for the entire weekend. Whereas this was the Lawfare blog said, Script Kiddies, they don't have anything else to do but besides exploit these holes. Apparently they don't like Easter eggs. They don't like Easter egg hunt chocolate bunnies. They're just going to be. That's what the Lawfare blog implies about Script Kiddies.
Script Kiddies will be eating their chocolate Easter bunnies while executing this tool on people, and that's depressing.
Yes. TechCrunch reports that a group of female Marines have written a letter to Facebook CFO Sheryl Sandberg to urge the company to do more to help prevent revenge porn. As we reported last week, revenge porn describes images that might have been shared with consent but are later forwarded without consent. Facebook has launched initiatives to attempt to stem the tide of these shared images being shared further, but according to this group of Marines, they are not doing enough. The Not in My Marine Corps initiative aims to highlight the problem and to provide resources to service women and men who've been affected. So the letter that they wrote describes pervasive misogynistic behavior, says Facebook has been negligent in removing pages, groups, and users that actively promote non-consensual intimate photo sharing. This is, of course, 7 weeks after the Marines United Facebook page came to light.
Yeah, and I at the very end of this write-up to Sheryl Sandberg, the letter states, "You said in your book, lean in. We cannot change what we are not aware of. And once we are aware, we cannot help but change." They continue, "I am making you aware, Miss Sandberg," which, kind of drives to the heart of, it's kind of like put your money where your mouth is as far as that's concerned. Well, like when I read through this and when I kind of hear about all that Facebook has its hands in right now and all the kind of challenges that it's facing right now, it's done a lot and in a very public way around using artificial intelligence to tackle things like fake news and malware, and kind of being very vocal and present in a public sense as far as its progress there. And I don't know, maybe we're missing it, but you don't necessarily get that here. I think this letter is intended to be like, look, we know you can do this, and we know that you take this stuff seriously. Why do some things get a lot more attention than other things? And these have, it all has real life consequences, but this is a pretty big deal, pretty serious. Their
argument also is nothing is going to change unless people speak out about it.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
There's so much shame around this. This is a pervasive problem, not just in the Marines, but everywhere. And there's so much shame surrounded it. If this happens to you, like the last thing you want to do is complain about it publicly. You don't, then it just spreads it more. It's like, it was the problem with Gawker. Someone would be exposed on Gawker and you just wouldn't want to touch it. Like nobody would want to sue or anything because whatever they've exposed is shameful for some reason, whether, and there's nothing to be ashamed about if you've shared or if your computer's been hacked and you have photos. But you understand why people don't want to talk about it. So what they're saying is like, we have to talk about it. And, I get why they would write Sheryl Sandberg, but I also, part of me thinks like, wow, like women get held to this higher standard always. Like, why not Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, why is he off the hook? He's not. Or any of the other, people in the C-suites in Facebook, or the other websites that are, that have this same pervasive problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. NPD groups say Nintendo sold 906,000 Nintendo Switches in the U.S. since they went on sale last month. More than 500,000 sold in Japan and even more in Europe. Nintendo says the Switch is its fastest selling console to date. Not only that, but Nintendo sold 925,000 copies of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch in the U.S. That's 19,000 more than the amount of consoles they sold in the U.S. Interesting. Along with the Wii U's 460,000 copies of Breath of the Wild sold, that makes the game the fastest selling launch title in Nintendo's history. So, the Switch and their launch of Zelda timed with the Switch, I mean, this is best case scenario for Nintendo. They really wanted to kind of right the wrong of the previous console not performing very well and come out of the gate screaming. And I mean, all accounts are that the Switch is just doing gangbusters. Anybody that I know that has one loves it.
That's a crazy statistic that they've sold more of the game than they have of the only console that they play on it. They say it's because people are buying one to collect and leave on the shelf, all wrapped in its package.
That many? That many?
That's like, what they say.
It's like 19,000 more than consoles exist in the U.S.
19,000 people bought two. Or maybe they just, they were hoping to sell it on eBay. I don't know.
That.
And then people, they haven't been able to sell it because it's so hard to get the Switch. So people don't want to buy the game until they get the Switch. Who knows?
Maybe people are buying it ahead of getting the Switch for what reason? I don't know. Yeah, who knows? That's just a really weird piece of math there. But yeah, so, and I mean, when you compare it to the Wii U, for example, the Wii U in its first month sold pretty comparably, actually, 890,000 units in the U.S. in 2012. The main difference there is that the Wii U launched in, I think it was November. It was holiday season shopping time. So it was like new Nintendo system, holiday shopping season. And so they were able to get, those large sale numbers in the first month. The Switch released in March, which, I mean, speaks to kind of the level of drive in gaming fans to get this system. It did really well outside of those traditionally, strong sales months.
Mm-hmm. And analysts at Citigroup say that they might have a Switch Mini within 2 years. So a cheaper one designed for younger gamers. That's a speculation based on how long it took them to iterate between the DS and the DS Lite. It was 2 years. So that's, judging by that. No, Nintendo hasn't said that, but that's what Citigroup thinks. A little Switch Mini in our future.
Nintendo earnings happen April 27th. So we'll find out for sure what this translates into numbers, and I'm sure stocks, investors are going to be super happy.
Well, what happens when a free app designed to save you money starts charging you to use it? Laura Northrup from The Consumerist is here to tell us how people responded. But first, let's take a minute to thank Blue Apron, the sponsor of this episode. Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with fresh, high-quality ingredients to make delicious, home-cooked meals. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients that can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Now, if you spend a lot of time at restaurants or you shop at high-end grocery stores, all the chains, you can now spend under $10 per person for a delicious meal. Not all ingredients are created equal, so it's important to know where your food comes from. Blue Apron sets the highest quality standards for their community of over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. And by shipping the exact amount of each ingredient required for a recipe, Blue Apron is reducing food waste. Their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they will make it right. Blue Apron delivers to 99% of the continental U.S. There's no weekly commitment, so you can get deliveries when you want them. Customize your recipes every week based on your dietary preferences, and if your dietary preferences change, you can change them on their website. It's super easy. Choose from a variety of new recipes each week, or let Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year, so you'll never get bored. Take a look at the salmon that my family had last night. I shot a little photo of it. There it is. It's beautiful, and it was delicious. Jason, you had that too, huh?
I did too. I had it for dinner, and then the next day I had some leftovers for lunch. It was like 2 in 1.
It's really good. Other things on the menu: spinach and fresh mozzarella pizza with olives, bell peppers and ricotta salata, sweet and sour salmon with bok choy, carrot and ginger fried rice, Parmesan crusted chicken with creamy fettuccine and roasted broccoli, baby broccoli and fontina paninis with hard-boiled egg and arugula salad. Those are all separate meals, and they're all delicious. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with your first purchase and free shipping by going to blueapron.com/TNT. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. Don't wait. Go to blueapron.com/TNT. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Digit is a free app designed to help save you money, but now its creators say you have to spend a little money to save money because, well, they want to make some money too. Joining us to talk about this is Laura Northrup from The Consumerist. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit how the app Digit works.
So how it works is that you connect it to your checking account, and it analyzes your spending and how much income you have, and figures out an amount of money that you won't miss, and then tucks it away in a savings account for you. Now, this is all FDIC insured through the company's bank accounts. So no, go ahead.
So they didn't charge anything. It was free for a while. I signed up for it, so it's still free for the first 100 days. But now they're going to start charging. And how did they explain that to people who already had the app?
They explained it saying, we are providing you with a service, and we're going to start charging for this service. They could have served ads within the app, or they could have sold users' data, or sold leads to other banks and credit cards. But instead, they decided, to be pretty straightforward and charge a fee. It's a $3 monthly fee.
So how do other apps like Mint, how do they make money off of me, since I'm a Mint user?
Yeah. They would make money by giving you offers, for appropriate credit cards or bank accounts, high interest savings accounts. I don't know if Mint serves ads, but usually they do. They call it offers, where you get offered credit cards and bank accounts that are appropriate for your financial circumstances.
So how have people responded to this switch? Because it's, if you're a user of something for a long time and you're used to it in one instance, and then it changes. I mean, people generally don't like change. Has been my reaction to what I see on the internet. But how are people responding here?
People are reacting one of three ways. They're saying, okay, I get more than $3 worth of value out of it every month. I'm fine with paying the fee. Or they say, I thought you were selling my data anyway. Why is people just? I think people just assume that their information is being sold, and they're the product.
Right.
And the other people have been complaining that they wish that it was a freemium product. If you want a higher interest rate and more services, you could pay. If not, you don't.
Well, do you think that speaks to how little we think our information, especially our financial information, is worth? I mean, because we willingly give it away and we don't really think about it. But in this case, they weren't using any of that. I mean, I kind of knew that as I use Mint, I get those offers, and I think they're definitely looking at how I spend money and probably using it in some other way. But I mean, I would imagine if we really thought about it, that the financial information, if we turn over our bank account number to an app, it's worth more than $3. It's $3 a month, right?
$3 a month, yes. And they call it the savings bonus because it's not really interest. That's 1% annually. So if you have $3,600 in the account, you're not paying for it. It kind of pays for itself.
So they pay your interest.
Well, it depends because we don't know how much interest they're getting. So if they're getting more than 1%, then they're keeping the difference. If they're getting less than 1%, then they are giving you money. But we do know that it used to be 0.25% annually, and now it's 1% annually.
Does it seem like people are upset because they weren't paying before, or because $3 is too much for a service like this? Like when I think about kind of the concept behind this, and just making money in general. Many times you have to pay money to make money. You have to pay something in order, give some money in order to get some money back. It doesn't seem too over the top for me to think that like a service that helps me save money over time, like $3 a month really isn't that much. How much is that per year, per 5 years? It really doesn't factor out to that much as long as the service is kind of meeting its expectations. Do people think the $3 is just too much for this sort of service?
I think people don't want to pay for it at all. While there are competitors that don't charge, either because they're selling ads or they're keeping the extra interest, while that's available, I think people are walking away. Yeah. And if they're invested enough in the service and they find it valuable, then I think they'll keep it. That's what people have been saying.
So you linked to a Lifehacker article that had some recommendations for other free services like this, like Tip Yourself. Do you have any opinion on those other services, whether they're worth it?
I haven't looked at them closely. There's another service. It's called Capital, spelled with a Q, Qapital. And they say that they make money by keeping the difference between the interest that they earn and that they pay out to you. And I guess that seems like an okay business model. But then it tempts you to say, well, why don't I just take this same amount out and put it in a standard savings account? And then I will keep the interest.
Right. So that's free, right? Like, couldn't I just call up my bank and say, take this part of my paycheck and put it into another account?
Right. I mean, that's what I do. I have a percentage put in an account at a different bank than what I use for my regular checking, and then I never see it. And that's what I do. But I think what these services are good for is if you're just not in the habit of saving, if you're new to having a regular paycheck coming in, they're really useful for that.
Yeah, sometimes it's much easier to just install an app and be like, yes, here, link it up, do it, instead of having to kind of go through the whole bank process, which could be pretty straightforward if you think to look into it. It also could not be, because some bank systems just aren't that easy to use, that don't make a lot of sense when you really dig into the website or whatever.
Also, most banks don't notify you on your phone every day of what your balance is.
That's true.
Give you that feedback.
Yeah.
And most banks don't do Goalmojis. Like,
what is a Goalmoji?
Like, if you set a little goal, like when I signed up, I can just text the umbrella emoji, and it tells me how much money I have saved for a rainy day.
Or you text a car, and it lets you save up for a car.
Okay, that's
I don't know what happens if you text a fire truck.
I've always wanted a fire truck, so let's find out.
I should try to there was one thing. It's like you put a pizza like that, you could save for a pizza. So it's sort of, it's an app for people who enjoy emoji, dare I say millennials. So do you think that might be the reason that so many people were offended by paying for it, because it's a certain kind of person that's using this app?
I think people really are used to having apps that are free or freemium or ad supported. And it was like with Super Mario Run, where people didn't want to pay $10 up front to use it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same idea. But I think they will keep a lot of customers. I think it's like a lot of situations where you have dissatisfied customers, where it's the people who are unhappy with it who are speaking up now. And the people who are just keeping it and who are happy with the service are, keeping quiet, and they'll start paying the fee after the 100 days.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so far I like it. I like being able to use emoji and to see what's
what Goalmoji are you using?
I don't know. Probably like a palm tree to go to Hawaii or something like that. I haven't dug into it. And I like the idea that they're being straightforward. They're being transparent. They're saying, I would rather pay $3 a month than have to sell my financial data to another company. So
what they've been saying is, we provide you with a service, and you know how much you are paying us, instead of it being really opaque how much the advertisers and how much the credit card companies are giving them. Makes sense. That they are providing a service, and it's straightforward.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. Laura Northrup is a community editor at The Consumerist. That's at Consumerist, and she is L Northrup on Twitter. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. We'll talk to you soon. All right, feedback time. Auto analyst and frequent guest on this show, Sam Boal-Samid, wrote in about the Tesla tractor trailer that we talked about yesterday. Sam said, it almost certainly will have autopilot because autonomous trucking will be one of the earliest large-scale uses of the technology. Highway driving is a much easier problem to solve than urban environments. That said, a battery electric long-haul truck is almost certainly DOA, or dead on arrival. The amount of battery required for a truck hauling 40 tons and up at highway speeds is prohibitively heavy and would have far too limited a range to be useful. Liquefied natural gas is a better technical solution, as are hydrogen fuel cells for this sort of application, although both are limited infrastructure support. So there we go. Yes, autonomous vehicle trucking for the win. I mean, I just couldn't imagine Tesla having one of those things without it, so it makes perfect sense.
TNT's fan of the day is Sergio Duran, a repeat fan of the day, who sent these tweets saying, thanks to you and to your show, I now better understand English, and now I can watch movies in English.
What?
I do not see well, and because of that, I cannot read the text on subtitled movies, so I always needed to watch them in Spanish. but no more.
Yes. We're teaching people how to speak English. That's awesome.
Right. Thank you, Sergio. Thanks for all of your tweets. If you want to be the fan of the day, you can just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup and post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT and we will find it.
All right, this week has been all about Google's AI flexing its artistic muscles. First, we took a look at auto draw to help make bad art a bit better. That was earlier this week. And now Google is showing off a new program called Sketch RNN that draws art much like a little kid might actually. Drawing little stick figure kittens might seem like child's play, but what's happening underneath is actually very complex. The system was fed a large number of sketches, and by the way, the process of drawing those sketches was included. So step by step, the order in which each line was drawn to make a kitten, for example. That image might look like a kitten to us, but it's more of an abstract representation of a kitten to a computer, let's say. The AI learned to identify what is being drawn and then recreate it using the concept of what it knows about that figure and that piece of art. So as a result, you end up with an entirely new take on the drawing instead of a facsimile of the source image, something that computers have been really good at for a really long time. And so what you end up with is artificial intelligence, like free-form sketching, but based around a particular concept. So you draw a picture of a kitten and it evolves and figures out how to draw its own version of a kitten that's not identical to the kitten that you drew or really anything else. It just kind of takes the concepts of drawing a kitten like a sketch and is able to do it on its own. It blows me away. I think what got me about this is just this idea about, can computers be artistic? Can computers be creative? And, we've talked in the past about artificial intelligence writing music, and yeah, the computer put the music together, but it still feels very kind of like, I don't know, out of order and not quite to a level of creativity or perfection, human perfection, let's say, that humans might be able to do. But here, I mean, you look at those sketches and you're like, okay, well, I could draw like that. Anybody could draw like that. Yet that was done by a computer. It's kind of crazy. Yeah,
I don't know if I would think that it's making that a computer's creative, but it gives you the question, and asks the question, is AI, does it have a personality?
Yeah.
Because have you ever seen, do you remember those pig drawing personality tests? Did you ever take those? So it's like you draw a pig and then it tells you how you draw the pig has to do with your personality. So like if you drew it toward the middle of the frame, you're a realist. Facing front, you're direct. You enjoy playing devil's advocate with neither fear. So like it's interesting. There's all kinds of things. Who knows if this is true or not? Huh. But some people draw the circle. Some people draw it to the side. Like
right.
So
okay.
it has to do with your personality. So now, like, does AI have a personality? Because pigs were one of the...
Can you read the last one? Can you read the last
one?
The
length of the tail. Kara.
Well, I didn't put this image in.
Length of the tail indicates the quality of your sex life.
You didn't have to read it, Jason, just because she tells you
beforehand.
to.
Oh, whatever. There you go.
Yeah, draw the pig.
Apparently, you can learn a lot from drawing a pig.
It's true.
It's just something I never knew.
No one gave you the pig person.
No, but now the bad part now is that I know the answer. So now I know how I can,
now it's ruined.
I know all the answers. So I will choose how I draw the pig.
Can we see the AI pigs again to check how long their tails are?
How did the AI do in drawing pigs?
Now we're going to really understand that more about AI than we probably want.
Yeah, we're going to learn a little too much about AI if we take a look at that particular character.
My other issue with this, my biggest issue with this, while it's cool, is that I feel tricked because I thought Quick Draw was just a simple little game, but they were using us. They were using us to feed the AI all of our doodles.
Google is always using us.
They're always using us. I thought it was just a fun game. So.
Well, it is. Yes, it's kind of both, right? So where's the pig? Where's the pig?
Thanks, Kara.
Okay. All right. The AI is definitely drawing some tail there. All right. We learned a little something about AI. Didn't know that. By the way, before we move on, it could also be used to help human artists find inspiration. So it could actually amount to something other than trying to figure out how long the pig's tail was. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 2300 UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us, tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW and find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
Hey, if you got some extra time, or even if you don't, skip something else you're doing and head over to the subreddit, the TNT subreddit at technewstoday.reddit.com. You can find all the stories there some of the stories that we talk about. You can find the stories that some of other people that are frequenters to the subreddit that they find interesting. You can upvote stories, you can downvote stories, you can comment, you can be part of the community. Head over there. And if you want to subscribe to our show, go to twit.tv/TNT. And as always, if you have someone else's phone in your hand, subscribe them too.
Yeah.
They'll thank you later. And if you want to tweet at me, I'm at Megan Maroney.
You have a permission to do that, by the way. I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to Kara Cole for being our technical director of the day. Thanks to Mario for helping out here in the studio. Thanks to Kevin for editing the show. And thanks to you for talking tech with us. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all on Monday. Bye, everyone.
Woo-hoo.